I'm gonna need you to pay attention because this is complicated, but worth it, I promise.
Hold on to your popcorn because Hollywood just got hit with a thunderstorm no one saw coming. We're talking about none other than America's golden girl, Blake Lively, clashing head-on with the king of chaos himself, Perez Hilton. Yup, you heard that right.
I told you a few days ago that Justin Baldoni is suing his former publicist, Stephanie Jones. He is alleging defamation amongst other claims, and Stephanie actually sued him first for breach of contract and other claims.
It all went down on HBO Max's explosive new documentary, Lively v. Baldoni, and let's just say, people are calling it the ultimate celebrity showdown.
She was upset that he left her PR agency to go with his now publicist, Jen Abel, who used to work at Jones Works under Stephanie Jones.
According to insiders, this wasn't just a tense moment. It was a full-blown meltdown, like the kind that shatters polished reputations and flips public perception on its head. And guess who's getting blamed for triggering the whole thing? That's right, Perez Hilton.
Jen Abel, his current publicist, is named in the lawsuit against Baldoni by his former co-star and plantation princess, Blake Lively.
If you've been scrolling on social media lately, then you already know the tea is boiling hot. Blake, known for her sunshiny interviews and A-plus media charm, apparently lost it when Perez poked into territory she thought was long buried.
Also included in the lawsuit that she brought against him is his production company, his producing partner, the billionaire co-founder who's paying all the legal bills, his crisis PR expert, and the digital guru whom we don't know really what he does.
It's like Perez rolled out of bed one day and decided, today I'm making headlines by pushing Blake Lively to her breaking point. But this wasn't just about shady questions. People close to the production are whispering that things got ugly, far uglier than just a verbal jab or two.
He then sued her husband, and her publicist, Leslie Sloan. Stephanie Jones has quite a reputation, was not having it, tried to get her to stay unsuccessfully, and then, before she was due to leave, she fired her and took her laptop and took her cell phone.
Word is, Blake stormed off set, tossing out heated words and even throwing in a few stingers that left the crew wide-eyed and frozen. Sure, celebrities have their moments, but this was different. This wasn't just an off day.
Then, Baldoni's complaint alleges that Stephanie Jones, on the very same day she fired Jen Abel, gave her publicist, Leslie Sloan, all of Jen Abel's text messages.
For years, Blake has worn the crown of Hollywood royalty. She's the picture of grace, fashion, and control, a beacon of Instagram-worthy moments, flawless interviews, and dreamy family life. So when cracks start to show, you better believe the internet eats it up.
Jen Abel filed a new motion that has shaken things up. Filed paperwork detailing her answer to the hair care professional's first amended complaint, as well as a third-party complaint against Stephanie Jones and Jones Works.
And once a crack appears, it's game over. The tabloids dive in like sharks. Only this time, the shark was already sitting center stage with a mic in hand. Perez Hilton, ladies and gentlemen, the man who's built a career on chaos, scandal, and that infamous "I know something you don't" smirk.
This is a big deal, though. Jen Abel's response to the Woody Allen apologist complaint was fairly typical stuff. I acknowledge this, I deny this, I verify I am this, there's insufficient blah blah blah, that kind of stuff.
So he claimed. Some said it was leaked messages, others whispered about audio recordings.
In the filing, Jennifer's lawyers argue that Stephanie, as Jennifer's boss, pulled Jennifer into this mess and should therefore be responsible for any bills related to the case.
Insiders say Blake demanded to see the proof, but Perez, he held his ground, flashing that smug grin, taunting everyone with, "You'll see soon enough." It was classic Perez, playing puppet master while everyone else unraveled.
And that means that neither side would need to get a subpoena to get documents from Stephanie Jones. And this is a huge win for Baldoni, I think. It could be an amazing way for him to get information, especially because these text messages are a key player in all the legal drama.
Some believe this entire confrontation was a calculated stunt. Hilton's specialty has always been pushing stars until they snap, then turning their pain into primetime drama. If that was the game plan, it worked flawlessly. Because Blake was shaken,
Blake Lively's just going to deny, avoid, ignore. She's going to act like all the things that Justin pointed out that are very valid are just, abuser playbook tactics. Blake Lively has responded to Justin Baldoni's 179-page, $400 million lawsuit, and her response has only made me want to support Justin even louder. Him defending himself just proves he's the abuser. She doesn't address any of the actual valid things that Justin points out in his lawsuit and instead just goes on the attack.
think slammed doors, frantic texting, and whispered arguments behind closed trailers. Some even heard Blake yelling on the phone just minutes before the cameras rolled.
Your pay grade. That's called fraud. When you pretend you want to do the one thing and you'll do the thing they're hiring you for, right? This Justin Baldoni, most people had never even heard of him. And then she claimed that he unleashed a bad PR campaign against her. By the time they premiered the movie, they weren't even speaking to each other. She made him stay in the basement and decided to try to hurt him with petty, made up, out of context complaints when he pushed back even in the mildest way. So she's a serial fraudster. That's called.
He reportedly whispered to one staffer, "America only sees her highlight reel." And the way he smiled whenever her name came up, chilling, you'd think he was sitting on a nuclear bomb and just waiting for the right moment to detonate it. Now here's where it really starts to boil over. Everyone wants to know, will any of this meltdown chaos make it into the final cut of Lively v. Baldoni? Teasers for the documentary don't mention a thing, not a single word about Perez's ambush or Blake's emotional spiral. But let's be real, nobody can ignore the noise anymore. Was this whole thing just next-level marketing, or are producers desperately trying to hide the damage before Blake's reputation takes a nosedive? The theories are coming in hot. Some swear the meltdown is being saved for a dramatic highlight, the kind of jaw-dropping moment that turns viewers into overnight sleuths. Others believe the showrunners are quietly burying the evidence, terrified of backlash from Blake's massive fan base. But either way, everyone's watching like hawks, waiting, refreshing timelines, wondering if HBO Max will cave and air the drama or protect one of Hollywood's last perfect icons. And speaking of fans, buckle up. The reaction online? Nuclear. The fandom split down the middle like a Hollywood divorce. On one side, Team Blake is in full defense mode. They're saying Blake was set up, ambushed by a man who's built his career on humiliating celebrities. Social media flooded with hashtags like leave Blake alone, and endless old clips of her smiling, laughing, being the sweetheart everyone thought they knew. They say Perez cornered her, pushed her to the edge, and exploited her vulnerability for clout. But on the flip side, Team Perez and the skeptics are calling her meltdown proof that Blake's sunny persona is just an act. They claim she's always been too perfect, too controlled, and that this breakdown reveals what's really underneath. They've dissected footage like it's a crime scene, pointing out panic in her eyes and irritation in her body language anytime Perez is mentioned. Is it paranoia or proof? It didn't stop there. This debate exploded into full-blown social media war. Some are calling for Perez to be canceled permanently, branding him a serial agitator who profits off pain. But others are calling Blake a master manipulator, someone who built her entire brand on perfection and control, and is now falling apart because someone finally pushed back. It's not just drama anymore, it's warfare. Oh, and then came the wildest twist of all. Some fans started theorizing that the meltdown was staged. Yup, staged. A planned publicity stunt. Think about it. The doc gets attention. Blake gets a vulnerable rebrand. And Perez? He revives his dying spotlight. Everybody wins, right? It sounds insane. Until you remember, this is Hollywood. Stranger things have happened. And guess what? The numbers don't lie. Lively v. Baldoni is skyrocketing in views. Whether they meant to or not, this meltdown mystery has turned into the biggest PR goldmine imaginable. The doc is trending. The rumors are viral. People are tuning in not for the story, but to catch the cracks in Blake's armor. The real story became the drama behind the camera. For Blake's fans, it's devastating. They're asking the big question now, who is Blake Lively, really? The kind, composed, effortlessly elegant icon? Or someone who's been wearing a mask all along, one that's finally starting to slip? Was the meltdown a moment of raw humanity? Or a hint at a much darker truth. But hold on, because it gets even deeper. Word is, other celebrities are now chiming in. Some reportedly texted Blake their support, while others threw shade at Perez in cryptic tweets. One A-lister posted, "Some people make a career out of betrayal, and fans are convinced it's aimed at Hilton." Meanwhile, back on set, things were tense. Unconfirmed reports say Blake cornered a producer off camera, demanding that footage of the meltdown be cut. Some say she threatened to walk off the project entirely if any of the ambush footage made it into the final version. Others say she begged them to keep the focus on the real story, not the circus. But once the cameras stop rolling, the real power moves begin. And Perez? Oh, he's loving every second. He's been popping up in interviews, dropping coy little comments like, "They haven't seen half of what went down," and "Let's just say, she's not who people think she is." He's throwing gasoline on the fire and then watching it burn. Then came the bombshell. Insiders say someone pitched the meltdown as a post-credit stinger. That's right. After the doc ends, they'd throw in that raw, real, emotional clip to keep people buzzing. Streaming execs are reportedly debating it right now. Should they go for the ratings or protect Blake's brand? Because in Hollywood, it's never about truth. It's about what sells. And fans, they're glued to their screens, refreshing, reposting, analyzing every teaser, every leaked photo, every shaky behind-the-scenes clip. They need to know what really happened when those cameras were rolling. Is this the moment Blake Lively's golden image starts to crack for real? And Perez, is he just some tired old gossip blogger clinging to relevance, or is he the puppet master pulling the strings behind one of the most talked-about celebrity meltdowns in recent memory? One thing's certain, nobody's looking away, because this documentary is no longer just a documentary. It's a battleground, a war over image, truth, manipulation, and what really happens when the masks come off. Blake Lively versus Perez Hilton isn't just celebrity drama. It's a metaphor for all of Hollywood. The pressure, the lies, the carefully curated brands, and what happens when it all explodes. So now the question that's haunting fans and critics alike. Is this meltdown just a minor bump for Blake? Or is it the moment her whole carefully curated persona starts to crumble? Because let's face it, perfect doesn't sell anymore. Raw does, real does, and if there's even a shred of authenticity to these rumors, then Blake's in the middle of the biggest image shift of her entire career. Some Hollywood insiders are even whispering that this might be the moment Blake goes full rebrand, vulnerable, edgy, more real woman, less storybook princess. If the meltdown footage is released and played right, it could turn her into the next phase of celebrity, the broken but brave heroine. But others? Others say this could backfire big time, because if people believe she faked it, or worse, if they think she hid it to protect her brand, that golden reputation she's held for over a decade could be done. The fans who loved her for her poise and class might feel betrayed, like they were sold a fairy tale that was never real. And once that trust is broken, it's almost impossible to win back. Meanwhile, Perez Hilton is out here thriving on the chaos. No regrets, no remorse. He's been in this game long enough to know that whether people hate you or worship you, if they're talking, you're winning. He's not backing down. If anything, he's gearing up for round 2, and now people are starting to connect dots that were never meant to be connected. There's talk that Perez has even more dirt on Blake, on the production, maybe even on other celebs tied to the documentary. It's like he's sitting on a vault, just waiting for the right moment to leak something else. And this brings us to the final question, the one that's going to echo across Hollywood long after the documentary fades from the trending page. Is Blake Lively really the graceful, flawless queen she's been for years? Or is that just a mask, a well-lit illusion designed to sell magazine covers and sponsorships? And if she isn't who we thought she was, do we still want her to be? Can a celebrity survive a crack in the mirror when we were never ready to see them bleed? And as for Perez, is he the villain in this story? The manipulator who pushed too far, who baited a woman into a public spiral just for his own relevance? Or is he the truth teller forcing us to see behind the curtain whether we like it or not? Because maybe, just maybe, the meltdown isn't the scandal. Maybe the real scandal is how much we've all invested in pretending Blake Lively is perfect. At the end of the day, Lively v. Baldoni became more than just a documentary. It became a mirror, a messy, cracked, glitter-covered mirror reflecting everything the entertainment world doesn't want to admit. The pressure, the manipulation, the image wars, and the fact that even America's sweetheart has a breaking point. If the rumors are even half true, then what we saw wasn't just a meltdown, it was a moment of reckoning for Blake, for Perez, for Hollywood, and maybe even for us, the viewers, the fans, the gossip addicts, because when it comes down to it, we don't just watch stars shine and we wait for them to fall. And when they do, we can't look away. Whether this is Blake's downfall or just a dramatic chapter in her legacy, one thing's for sure, this won't be forgotten. Not by her fans, not by her critics, and definitely not by Perez Hilton. Because in this town, a meltdown is never just a meltdown, it's content.